Welcome to It's Family Business, the podcast. Join the Burgess family at our dinner table, where we explore the power of connection through stories, laughter, and lessons from life and business. Together, we'll reform the way we think about relationships, success, and growth. Grab a seat and join the conversation.
This podcast is brought to you by Pilates Reformers Australia, your all-in-one solution for Pilates and wellness. If you're looking to invest in commercial or home Pilates equipment, you need to speak to the experts in Pilates. Visit our website at pilatesreformersaustralia.com.au or check us out on social media.
Hello, everybody. I'm Kirsten, and today I'm here with Cheryl and Adrian.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
And we will be talking about starting a Pilates studio and the things that you need to think about and consider when you're looking to start a Pilates studio. So we've broken it down into, which we will touch on today, into 6 different areas that you need to think about. And they include your business model, whether or not you want to do a franchise or DIY, the legalities, the marketing, what equipment you're going to buy, and also whether or not you are going to have another income stream such as starting an in-studio shop. So we'll start with Cheryl and we'll touch on the business model. What do we need to know?
Business models. Well, obviously one of the biggest driving forces in Pilates at the moment is the group reformer model, where you have, between 6 to 20 reformers in your studio. You can also have a boutique or a clinical Pilates studio. These are smaller studios which have more than just reformer equipment within them. And these can be found just as a studio on their own or within a physio or allied health practice. And then you can just have just the private studio, which is usually the single owner owns the studio and they've just got a small little business that they're running on their own. There's also wellness clinics where they would be having mat Pilates in the gyms. Some of the studios actually have a combination of things. So it could be yoga with Pilates or barre with Pilates. And then the wellness clinics are also bringing in the sauna with reformer Pilates or, the magnesium baths. Those sort of thought processes are coming out at the moment. And finally, there is the online studio. So you buy the reformer and you're going to run it from home, and you as the business owner are producing an app of some sort where you are running your business model from.
How does the sauna work with Pilates, Cheryl?
It's a wellness space, Adrian. So the whole space
I know
is
last time I was in a sauna, I wasn't in any condition to get on a reformer after that. Is that something you do
after? You would do that after your workout.
Oh, I see.
Yes. The wellness spaces is what they're called now. I'm a big believer in those people that need you will be attracted to you and what you're providing. And so if you just stick to your guns and provide what you're providing, that will appeal to the people that are your ideal clients, and then they will come.
I think one thing I've noticed about studios as a, working in the industry and also as a customer that's gone to many different studios, you've got to have a good website and I need to be able to book online. For me, as a young person, I don't want to ring you. I don't want to have to DM you to book my session. I just want to go online, book it, pay for it if I can, and know that I'm going to turn up at 9 o'clock and do my Pilates session. So I always find if I can't book online and it's not simple and easy, then I probably won't. I'll find a studio that it is, especially now when the consumers have so much choice with the studios that they can pick from. It's got to be easy. It's got to be accessible, affordable. Those are all things that you've got to consider. But I definitely think having a good website and a good online booking system or an app, even better if you've got an app, they're really good things to have to keep it easy for your customer base.
Yeah, definitely. I think also the other thing with your marketing is when you choose your booking system, because one of the things with the booking systems these days is that they actually have integrated marketing platforms within the booking system. So, your newsletters and your emails to your clients and all those sort of things are integrated into your booking system. So things become automated for you as the owner. So, when they're coming to the end of their package, they're going to automatically get an email to say, hey, you're coming to the end of the package, rebook again. The SMSs are getting sent out to remind them that they've got their class, which helps to reduce the people that are not going to show for their sessions, and all of those things which reduce the operating costs for you as the business owner will help to increase your success, definitely. Another thing that you need to think about is your branding. That's the fun stuff, your logo and your colours and all that sort of stuff. Make sure that you've got your branding on point, but really try to build out your mailing list. When you're working with your marketing, try to build your mailing list out, because people go for whatever reasons. It may be money, it may be health, it may be family situations. You don't really know why someone will leave your studio. But if you keep in contact with them by regularly emailing them, you're still on their minds. And so when something happens and they realise they've got to come back to Pilates, you're going to be their first choice. So making sure that you have a good way to get a good mailing list together is good.
The same with social media.
Yeah.
It's the exact same. Yeah.
Yep.
Make sure you've got a good profile. Be on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, wherever you can be there,
Have a presence.
And it is hard to manage social media. It is honestly a full-time job within itself if you're going to do it right. If you can afford a content creator or a social media manager, I would say it's definitely an investment. Right. Just having someone, even if they just do it part-time, to just schedule a couple posts for you and do a little bit of engagement for your studio page. It's really important because people look at that. If I'm looking at a studio, I will look at your social media and I'll go, oh, that looks like especially today when it's all about the aesthetics, like, oh, that looks like a nice studio.
Yeah.
I'll definitely go there or whatever it is. But definitely social media is a good one.
That's a good young person's perspective. But for me personally, I would go straight to Google.
Yes,
and I would Google,
presence.
Pilates Reformer Studio.
Near me.
Bondi or Camden or wherever I live. So would you invest in someone to host your AdWords campaign?
Yes, SEO, Google AdWords is definitely a must as part of your marketing strategy, yes. Especially when you can localise your Google AdWords and your SEO to target the areas and that you're living in, to target the demographics, to target your ideal client avatar. Definitely that is something. And that comes back to your website. So once you've got that website up and running, that's another extension of that. So, yes.
And do a photo shoot. Get good photos of your studio.
Yes.
You've only got to do one, but it really makes a difference.
It does.
It helps with your branding and your aesthetic, and it just makes you look professional.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you have to look professional, not just even if you are a home studio and you're running it from home in your purpose-built garage, like spend the time to make it look good and spend the time to take a good photo shoot because it does bring back the investment, definitely. The other thing I think you need to also think about with marketing is promotions, like having an intro offer is also a good thing for a studio to have. And then what is your next step after you have that intro offer? So it's not good just to have come and do 5 sessions for $50. Like what is the next step in your process that you're going to have once that promotion finishes to keep that client coming back? So then we come back to our mailing list and our booking system and our marketing strategies and that we've got in place to make that successful. So they're all good marketing strategies that I think you need to take into consideration.
So our next point, which obviously we all have quite a bit of expertise is your equipment. What equipment you need to buy, how to pick the right equipment. Adrian, you can start there, I think, about equipment. Obviously, we say choose.
Look, I'll try not to be biased. I mean, we've all got to start somewhere with the many new equipment suppliers which are currently in Australia. We've had like at least 20 pop up during COVID when the demand kind of exceeded the amount of supply that was available. So I think I usually say to people, maybe look at the warranty. I don't want to get too technical on the quality of the equipment and, how equipment's made and things like that. But the warranty is generally a sign of the longevity of the equipment. So, for example, Align Pilates give 10 years warranty. We do that because we have looked at the parts which have high potential of wear. So I think warranty is a good thing to go by. And, potentially how long the company has been around is something to consider. What sort of expertise do they actually offer? I mean, there's Pilates studios out there selling Pilates equipment, and there's ex-gym owners selling Pilates equipment. I mean, what do they really know? They've just sourced a factory and are buying equipment. They don't really know that much about what they're doing. So these are
Is that important for them to know that, though?
Well, from my experience, a breakdown of equipment or a breakdown of a reformer can, at the end of the day, if your studio is booming, you're on 10 reformers and 2 of them are down, what do? You've got 2 clients that now can't come and may not come back. They may go to a different studio. So these are things, how quickly can they come to fix? Do they have the parts in stock? This is another thing, We keep parts and everything, wear and tear parts are always available, replacement springs, wheels, all that sort of stuff, which slowly does wear out. We keep all that sort of stuff. Do they keep that? Do they have that sort of knowledge base?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, warranty, really important. Have a look at that. ISO, we do ISO on our equipment, which is the international standard. So we test for longevity. You know, the equipment runs for, it's like 100. How many hours is it? I don't know. It's a lot of hours that they run with 150 kilos on the carriage and all this sort of stuff, which tests how much the pulleys can take and springs can take and blah, blah, blah. You know, how safe the foot bar is, weight testing.
And I suppose the ISO is also important because it's an extra insurance for you as an owner that, I know that my equipment's been tested to be somewhat safe and, a spring isn't going to necessarily snap and smash my client in the face and they're going to sue me.
Look, I also think when you're thinking about equipment for your studio, you need to think about the diversity of it. Like, can it grow with you as your studio grows and changes, so that you can continue to be competitive in the market? So, things like being able to put on a tower onto your reformer, if that's just a reformer studio, or have you got space then to put in a wonder chair because that's going to be, allow you to do circuit Pilates, for example, or those sort of things I think also need to be considered when you are picking your equipment for your studio.
And it's true because obviously we know Pilates equipment goes beyond just a reformer. So if you're wanting to go and do a variety of different Pilates or run a variety of different Pilates classes in your space, then thinking about the different pieces of apparatus that are available to you to purchase when you're starting or in the future is also something to think about.
Yeah, so often these days we're getting studios coming back after 5 years and adding the half trapeze because of the competition in the area and other studios opening with exactly the same offerings as what they have. So they're looking at different options, including, offering the trapeze sort of exercise as well, which is not that difficult to manage for them.
Yep, definitely. There's also classical equipment. There's not just contemporary equipment. So, that's another type of area that people can branch into and all of the small bits and pieces that go with that. So that gives you a bit more diversity in your equipment. So there's lots to consider with equipment.
Do your research.
Do your research with your equipment, definitely. Make sure that you've, chosen your style and your post-purchase care, your repairs, longevity,
Warranty.
ISO, warranty, all those sort of things are important.
Yep.
Yeah. And also, are they going to provide service information? Like, are you keeping proper records of your reformers? So if someone was injured on a particular reformer, did that happen because it actually had an issue the night before and it wasn't reported? So do you have that documentation? All that sort of stuff is really important, and that comes from an equipment supplier who has expertise in what they're doing.
Yep, definitely. Funny, Kirsten.
Yeah. So our last point that we invite people to consider is whether or not, what are the other income streams that you can add to your studio aside from just running classes, such as should you add on an in-studio shop and stock socks or activewear, or I see people that do drink bottles and towels and the whole lot.
I reckon you should. I think you can, because you're basically a shop front at the end of the day. Why wouldn't you try and pick up that extra income from, we always, because we have the Toe Socks brand, but we always say this, you should say this is a, no sock, no Pilates studio, because they should have anti-slip socks on for safety and hygiene and blah, blah, blah. It's a great opportunity to get extra income. You do want to have good quality sock, like Toe Socks, for that reason, because otherwise you're going to be handling all the returns and all that sort of stuff, which is, my socks only lasted 2 sessions, they've already worn out.
My favourite is my foot rolls inside the sock. Like, if you don't have like a Tavi or a Base 33 or one of those brands on, it's, But yes, generating extra income can definitely assist with the operation costs of the studio. It allows you to be a bit more diverse as well, separates you away from all of the other people. Water bottles and, we've tried all that. Even small health apparatus like spiky balls for people, or
100%.
Exercise balls, Pilates rings, all those sort of things. If you've got that and you've used that in the session, that's right. You've used it in the session. Yeah, 100%.
They could even, I'm just putting this out there. They could even sell reformers.
You just said that studios are selling reformers and you don't like it.
No, I mean, they can, they could buy a home reformer, for example, because sometimes men particularly, they love reformer, but they can only go once a week, blah, blah, blah. It wouldn't hurt them to have a reformer at home. And that studio could, potentially talk to us and they could on-sell that reformer, get a little bit of commission for themselves.
Always
Why
selling
not?
your business. I love it, Adrian. Very true, very true. But yeah, that would probably be the 6 points that I would consider when thinking about starting a studio. What's going to be your business model, which way you're going to go, whether you're going to choose a franchise versus DIY, the legalities or the legal aspects that come with starting a studio. Make sure you've got your marketing on point. Make sure you do your research with your equipment, and definitely consider other income streams to help boost your business.
Definitely.
And be extra friendly. Be a really nice person.
I think, you know what, one thing we didn't touch on, which I'll just bring up quickly, is really, offering things like, I know that we used to, when we had the studio, we had the studio Christmas party where all the clients came together. And
you're building a community.
You build a community, yeah, definitely.
Very
and
true.
I think that's really important. I've seen other studios where whatever event they might be having on, and they invite everybody to come and the community and do an open day and things like that really bring people together that I think can really also help as well.
Look, one other thing, sorry, I just will think about this. Because you're local to the area, sponsor local events and events and, sporting clubs and stuff like that, because that also helps to get you out there and be a part of the community. And then they see that you are willing to interact with community, and then they will then recommend people to come to you. Yep. So that kind of word of mouth referral is priceless marketing.
Yeah.
And you can't
it helps
get that
you
anywhere
connect
else.
with the other local businesses that will refer their customers to your studio. And
Chamber of Commerce, join that. Talk to the local physios, chiros, stuff like that. Put out your flyers. Yeah, be part. If you're going to make a community, be part of the community.
I saw a post recently on Facebook about someone saying, I hate it when my clients talk to each other during class. What does everyone think about this? How can I stop it? And a few people were like, come up with a few ways to try and make them work harder and all this sort of stuff. But then someone who may have been a bit older, I'm not sure, but she commented, well, you need to realise that people are making a community. They're coming to talk to other people. That's why they're coming to your class. Yeah. Because this is something that they do. They don't just do it for the exercise, they do it for the social side of it.
Yeah, especially if you're on your own.
And I know that people used to come to your studio and then go out for morning tea
They
or whatever
still do.
after it, So I think you've got to be aware
they
that,
go and have a coffee. Yep.
And I think that's a good area or a good way to look at it, that it is a social thing for people.
Yes.
Sure, the younger ones are there to try and get six packs and maybe strengthen their backs and
excuse me, and the old people are there for their rehab to hurt their knee, or their hurt
The young
knees
ones are there for their
whatever.
booties.
Yeah, but I think you just got to keep that in mind.
Yeah, it is a community.
Definitely.
Yeah. And foster that, for sure.
All right. Well, that brings us to the end of this episode of It's a Family Business. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.